Hey everyone, Jeremy here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Wonka movie. Now, just to get it all out of the way and tell you my thoughts on this movie, and I absolutely loved it. Okay, so before we get into the plot, there will be spoilers in this movie review. So if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, I suggest you guys go watch it whenever, and then if you want, you can come back to this video. But without further ado, let's get into it. So one thing I really want to talk about in this movie review is that the songs were great. The dancing was great and the choreography, great. I mean, that kind of falls into dancing, but I just thought that it was all really good. So the whole moral of the story was, I mean, this is the way I interpret it, was that to chase your dreams and basically anything is possible once you put your mind to it. And that's what I really loved about Timothée Chalamet's take on this younger version of Wonka, because he gave you so much hope and so much inspiration to go after the things that you really want in life, and to basically let you know that anything is possible when he put his mind into it. And that's what I loved about his version of Wonka. Now, this is supposed to be the younger version of Gene Wilder. And in my opinion, I thought that Timothée Chalamet nailed it. Like, he wants to bring, joy into the world with his chocolate and his inventions, right? And so what I loved about Timothée Chalamet's part of it is that he showed how much he actually cared for people. And he was actually a little bit, I would say, naive in a way, because even in the movie, he says that he usually has been trusting the kindness of people, right, throughout the movie. And in the movie, he kind of learns a little bit about how not all people are just good, So I thought that this was also really a true teaching moment for Wonka. And of course, he's not going to be perfect at first. This is his origin story. So he is going to be, learning every step of the way, how to become basically the big inventor, chocolate maker that he is in the future movie with Gene Wilder. Now, there are a couple callbacks to the Gene Wilder movie that I absolutely loved in this movie. There were little subtle hints of it. Some things that I caught was, of course, the little stair thing that he does. So when he walks down the stairs in the Gene Wilder movie, he goes back up a step and then walks back down and then goes back up. So, it's just that kind of craziness in Wonka that we get to see in this movie, which I found the cool thing that they added in this movie, right? So I just absolutely love the callbacks to that. Also, when he's eating the teapot, there's a scene in the Gene Wilder movie where he eats the teapot when they're all at the chocolate factory, all the winners basically, right? And there's a little callback to that when he actually eats the teapot as well. It's just a little scene, maybe a second, maybe not even a second, but that's just some things that I caught that I absolutely loved. And also, of course, we get to see the Oompa Loompa, which was, I thought, a really good part of the movie. And one of the callbacks was when he uses the flute. Obviously, we've seen Gene Wilder use the flute in the movie with him. And, I mean, I'm just so glad that they're connecting all these, dots. And of course, that's what they're supposed to do. This is supposed to be the younger version of Wonka. And I think they did it really good. Now, let's talk about backstory. Now, of course, this is the origin story of Wonka. And I absolutely loved Wonka's backstory because it shows how he didn't really have much growing up. All he had was his mom, and that was pretty much it. He wasn't super rich. He didn't grow up with anything, So it gives a nice little connection between him and Charlie in the Gene Wilder movie. Now you can kind of connect the dots to see maybe that he sees himself in Charlie. And so I like that they did that for Wonka as well, because if you're Wonka, you can, kind of relate to Charlie, right? And that's what Wonka was obviously looking for in the Gene Wilder one. He's trying to look for someone who actually cared about, the chocolate, the factory, the people, and the joy that he would bring into the world. So I absolutely loved that. I loved that he got all this inspiration from his mom, basically. The fact that his mom was the one who made, all this delicious chocolate just for him. And then he absolutely loved it. And that's what gave him the inspiration to make chocolate, to make the best chocolate in the world later. And as I said before, this is a movie about, going out and chasing your dreams. And that's exactly what Wonka did in this movie. I also love that he was able to incorporate how he makes his chocolate. It's so different from everyone else's. He uses interesting ingredients that nobody else uses as well. And the fact that he's also a really good chocolate maker, but he's a good inventor as well. And also, he's a magician. I mean, I think all three of those qualities is what makes Wonka so different from the rest. I mean, that's just a recipe for success, and that's exactly what happened. What I loved about this movie was that they gave this movie a villain, basically. And they gave him a couple villains, but the main villain I want to talk about is Slugworth. Now, we heard about Slugworth in the first movie with Gene Wilder, right? And I just love that they brought him back into Wonka's origin story so we can kind of see what Slugworth was like and what he did to Wonka in the past. And I love that, yes, this movie was, warm-hearted and, it was very funny as well, and also inspirational. There was also something at stake here. Lives at jeopardy. And also there was his whole dream was in jeopardy. And so when you kind of think of a movie and what makes a good movie is that I guess you can say, there should be some conflict involved to, kind of get it interesting and to kind of see what the character goes through and the character development that goes through it. And so that's exactly what they did in this movie. I thought Slugworth was the perfect villain in this story, and that's exactly what they did. I absolutely loved it because it shows how Slugworth is really intimidated by Wonka. He knows that Wonka has, true potential, and he knows after trying his chocolate that it's definitely the best chocolate in the world, right? And so he's super intimidated by the fact that Wonka could just run them all out of business. And, he tries to fight Wonka in many ways. He tries to get rid of him. He even tries to kill him. And that's something that I really did not see coming into this movie. Because, of course, I thought it was going to be warm-hearted, right? But, I mean, the fact that they were willing to go, these lengths to get Wonka out just truly shows how intimidated he was by Wonka and how feared he was. Now let's talk about the Oompa Loompa. Now, I absolutely love the Oompa Loompa scenes. I think when the Oompa Loompa came out on the screen, I think he absolutely stole the show. Although I do wish that, maybe we would have seen a little bit more of the Oompa Loompas. I think they handled it well. They didn't overshow him. And, of course, this is a Wonka origin story mainly on Wonka, right? So I thought they handled it really well. And this time they took a little bit of a different approach with the Oompa Loompas, basically how they made them. So this time they did CGI Oompa Loompas, and it's something different that they did in the past two movies, one with Gene Wilder and the other one with Johnny Depp. So they actually used real people in those movies. And so this time they did CGI. And I don't know how other people think about that, but honestly, I found it to be good in this movie. It really shows how small they actually really are in this movie compared to the other two movies. I mean, Oompa Loompas are like super small in this one. The main Oompa Loompa that we get to see, he's a good character. Just his personality and basically how he got involved with Wonka, because Wonka like stole his cocoa beans and stuff. So I thought that was like a nice little thing that they got going on there. And yeah, I just found the Oompa Loompa was a great part of the story. It was funny. It was very interesting, and I absolutely loved it. And overall, this movie was just, I thought it was warm-hearted, of course emotional, because, his backstory with his mom and how his mom gave him all this inspiration, and then eventually she died because of a sickness, but also she was the inspiration for, making all this chocolate. Even the Wonka bar, which of course we see that that's like Wonka's most famous chocolate bar, or famous product, is the Wonka bar. And I actually do have a Wonka bar here that I got for Christmas. I just had to bring it out for this review. I mean, I've never eaten this. I don't think I'm ever going to open it. It's just really cool to just kind of have, I mean, there is a golden ticket in here by the description of when we bought it. But I just absolutely love it. And I thought it was fitting to bring this out for the movie review. It's pretty cool. They got like ingredients too, I guess, in the back. But boom. I found this movie super good. I didn't expect it to be this good, honestly. And I just absolutely loved it. I know this was like towards the end of 2023, but out of the whole 2023, this movie is one of my favorites. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below though, because I absolutely love this movie. If you guys liked it, or if you didn't, and why not? Why didn't you like it? You know, what are the cons in this movie, do you think? And yeah, guys, just let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's been Jeremy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.